this is Boresight News, and I'm Shaun Kenny.
And I'm Karen Howes. And tonight we have a couple feature reports, and we also have 900 numbers.
Yes, that great 900 number, the occasion that lets you participate with us. Besides your phone calls that we receive all during the week, this is one opportunity that hundreds or even thousands of you can respond to questions that we are going to put forth tonight. I guess the first question we're most concerned with is your attitude and your position with legal counsel. Should this industry, the satellite industry, take an aggressive stance against the cable industry and against the programmers? Should we hit them before they come off hitting us? So what's the question?
That's the question. Billy C. doing it right in front of you right now. And those are the two numbers you can call, yes or no. 900 numbers will cost you 50 cents. Right now, as far as legal counsel goes and over the past, we've had Brown and Finn, and they have been good in litigation and in matters on the Hill. They've been drafting bills. Right now they're doing so for the Television Viewing Rights Organization and for the Satellite Viewing Rights Coalition. But this would be a different approach. It would be more aggressive.
It's actually an approach that many, many of you out there have expressed that the industry should take. We should go after them because really we've been the harmed individual in this situation. So finally, we're going to do it if indeed this is where you think you'd like to see your money spent, because to do it will probably be your money to bring that action. And by the way, if you win, and hopefully we will, you will be rewarded with the funds that are retrieved from the cable and program monopolies. We had some interesting conversations with legal advice in the last couple of days. We are not ready to tell you all that they said. It's better for us to just wait and surprise the opposition with some paperwork. But maybe you don't want to see money spent that way and you're not going to support it. And I think in this particular case it will be necessary to get support from the field on this. It will be necessary to develop funding to support the attorney's actions. So if you're going to want to support that action and indeed share with any profits that may come out of any litigation that we win, then you're going to have to contribute some funding to do it. So do you want to contribute funding? Do you really want to hit them? If so, give us a call. 900, right? Right,
and we're going to be having a couple of different 900 number questions tonight. So you'll have 15 minutes to answer this one, and then we'll bring up another one.
We're going to have all this a green sheet. We got a whole bunch to ask about the guide that we're coming out with.
That's right. It's a good guide. Coming up right after we have our commercial break, we have a feature on the trade association that's claimed itself to be the Satellite Trade Association.
Well, that was their joke for the week. Now we have to have our joke. Can you believe that? How could they possibly consider themselves to be representing this industry when they have a total of 9 manufacturers as members? Oh no, 8 manufacturers and 1 distributor, and that's it. That's their total membership in terms of people from within our industry that have gone ahead and joined them.
Well, I think that's the question that this report raises.
Oh, good. I knew I'd get it answered.
The Transponder, your source for inside information on the satellite industry, will now offer a consumer edition, premiering in early April. With this introductory offer, you get a year subscription for only $19.95. Call 1-800-992-3488. Visa and MasterCard convenience. Call 1-800-992-3488.
Expand your business and expand your income by expanding your product line. Satellite dealers can now branch out, sell, install, and service telephone systems, a low-risk, high-profit addition to your satellite income. Apex Telephone Systems now offers the experience, support, and reputation of 20 years in the telephone industry through the Apex Dealership Program.
Well, one of the big advantages of our dealership program would be for satellite retailers to be able to attain and sell the type of system that isn't readily available at a supply house. And beyond that, we would be able to back them with extensive technical support, like I said before, sales training, and the ability to help them through any problems they might encounter along the way.
Apex handles well-built American-made products such as ComDial. ComDial phones include many exclusive features as well as the lowest failure rate in the business. For more information about how you can get involved, call Apex today, 201-454-2242.
Purpose, and we should stay united to do that and not worry about those who aren't here.
We've been pushed just about as far as they're going to push us, and we're going to lash back.
During Space's 6 years in existence, a substantial amount of money was invested in spurring the industry on to greater growth. Trade shows, certification training, lobby efforts, publications, weekly news broadcasts, birthday celebrations, and bill after bill, after hearing, after debate, after meeting, after report. By the close of 1986, Space was $600,000 in debt, and the trade group closed its doors. Many who supported the industry's trade association were not unhappy to see it go.
But it's really no different than it has been. It's been a situation where a limited group of people have essentially created a path for Space, and essentially the full board just follows it, and I just don't believe it's been effective.
Space's dissolve brought the organization of a new association.
Space has merged or is in the process of merging with something called the DBSA.
Our board of directors voted to approve the merger and to proceed with the merger so long as two criteria are met. Number one is that DBSA's board meeting next week, they have to also approve the merger, and they have not done so at this time. And secondly, that there are several preconditions that have to be met by ourselves and by them before a merger will take place. And we foresee a time period somewhere between 3 and 5 to 6 months for the merger to be completed, and we have a goal of it being completed by the Las Vegas show. The proposal calls for us to be divided into sort of 4 groups. One group will be the space segment, and that will be the manufacturers and the people who control and own satellites. A second group will be the Earth segment manufacturing group, and that's basically the manufacturers and distributors that are presently members of Space. A third group will be the retail distribution group, and that will include individual retailers, mass merchandisers, and will include distributors. And the fourth group will be the software and software distribution, and that group will be the HBOs, Turner Broadcasting, United Video, Southern Satellite, and other programmers and program distributors. We hope the third-party packagers will be members of this fourth group. Those 4 groups will all have equal representation to the overall board that will operate the organization, establish its policies and its activities.
When the merger was introduced, many wondered why existing TVRO associations were not contacted. Many wondered why Chuck Hewitt and Taylor Howard sought alliance with a group comprised of satellite vendors and hopeful DBS programmers. The membership of this new SBCA includes representation from most every sector, excluding multiple system operators and Hollywood producers. The executive committee is comprised of Taylor Howard from Chaparral Communications, Marty Lafferty representing Cable News Network, Daniel Zinn of Hughes Communications, John Clark from RCA, and Chuck Hewitt. Other members include only 9 of the 150 manufacturers and distributors who served on Space's team in 1985. Out of 500 space dealers surveyed, only 4 would join SBCA. Those supporting the new trade group feel SBCA allows for a forum where the satellite industry can discuss their concerns with programmers. Those not supporting the new group question why programmers are all of a sudden eager to talk at this SBCA roundtable when they would rarely return a phone call to space just 3 months earlier.
We've offered to tender money, it's been refused. We've offered to negotiate before Congress, and it's been refused. We've never heard from them. They never wanted to discuss it, all right?
These people are not interested in having us exist. They have been our mortal enemies for the last 5 years.
Listen, why are they not our enemies today? As chairman of the Board for Space, Taylor Howard had this to say.
We're going to take very strong action, particularly, I can't reveal all of it at the moment because we haven't formulated it totally, but we're very, very upset about the idea of CBS, one of the networks scrambling and removing material from the public domain. We're also not at all pleased, to put it mildly, about a basic channel or a superstation scrambling and not being available. And further, there's an announcement by HBO that they are going up to K-band on the RCA satellite, and that's just for cable. They're not ever going to make that available to consumers. That's baloney. I mean, we are a free country, and that's part of our public resource, the airwaves and the satellite belt, and we're going to fight that one all the way.
Last month, from Taylor Howard, chairman of the SBCA group, we heard this.
The point is that we have a trade association now where manufacturers, programmers, satellite builders, everybody's together and talking about these problems. That's the first break in it. That's the way these things get done. It doesn't get done by terrorist acts. It doesn't get done by threats. It gets done by having a good business climate for it. And I'd like to go a little further with that. You know, the real success of the satellite delivery system, which the association is devoted to making successful, is not just scrambled programming, not just pay-per-view programming, not just pay programming, but it's a very broad spectrum of programming.
2 years of space member dues brought Chuck Hewitt to this stand.
There are opponents, and they will do anything they can to split the industry. They'll do anything they can to water down any impact that we may have.
Today, Chuck Hewitt has this for the dish industry.
We have no position or policy on any subject.
Programmers are paying $500 per month for a voice on the SBCA board. The programmers state they have an interest in promoting dish sales in order to promote programming. They say that is why they belong to the SBCA.
So our basic strategy next year is to support the dealer marketplace, basically through two kinds of programs, a push and a pull approach. By pulling the product through, we'll be spending a significant amount of money advertising, mainly through targeted mediums like satellite guides. We were in virtually all of the satellite guides this past year, and we hope to continue doing that at a more aggressive rate in 1987. We will also continue with our annual subscriptions. We are also going to begin testing in the first part of this new year a number of new marketing techniques which we don't think have ever been tried in this industry, such as direct mail, outbound telephone marketing, local promotions such as sweepstakes, to really determine if they work, and if they do, we'll roll those out in the latter half of this year.
Others think their motives are double-sided. The first press release distributed by the SBCA said everything in Dishland is wonderful. Programming subscriptions are up, VC2s are selling like hotcakes, and new programming abounds for C-band Direct. Would positive propaganda affect the lobby efforts of the Satellite Viewing Rights Coalition? One representative of the coalition said, "It doesn't help our position." The Satellite Viewing Rights Coalition is working through Brown and Finn to get legislation passed in Congress. Convincing senators that we need third-party distribution will be harder with this kind of press.
The marketplace is in failure, and anybody that doesn't think the marketplace is in failure is getting their paycheck from someplace else than I get mine. I just can't imagine somebody sitting here in Washington telling me that the marketplace is working or has worked. If, during my testimony, we hear the cavalry come down the hall and bring us a packager that's really working, please interrupt me and I'll shut up and we'll listen to that person, but there isn't one yet. This is not a new phenomenon, and it's clear it's been a struggle over the control of programming distribution. The marketplace can't work as long as we have this web of interconnection and monopoly that's been there existing in the communications industry for a long time. Competition is not enforced when we are being denied access, when programmers refuse to distribute in a competitive manner, and when scrambling devices are sole sourced at very high prices.
Have those issues been resolved?
But what we don't want is for when we sell our station to have to get the programming to our consumer through a cable television operator. I think it's just great.
Is there a third-party distribution? Reasonable rates? Those who have heard the concerns of the industry for 6 years believe the TVRO industry is fighting for access to programming and the ability to get that programming for a reasonable fee.
The key argument of space has always been, we're willing to pay for that product. We don't feel that satellite dish owners should be given programming free when cable subscribers or subscription television subscribers or MDS subscribers around the country have to pay for it.
No,
we don't think we should get a free lunch.
No, I agree.
Space has always said, we just want the right to take the programming down as long as we're charged a reasonable rate.
Many believe the SBCA will not continue the 6-year fight towards reasonable pricing.
For special favors, we're looking for some kind of a fair, equitable way of being treated by distributors and manufacturers to stop this tide that's going on. We've been accused, dealers have been accused on a large level by a lot of distributors as being, just going to manufacturer direct. They've caused it on their end. They've caused that problem. We're looking for protected areas whereby we can take and market a product, stand behind it, spend the advertising dollars that we have been spending, but get some kind of a protection. It's a two-way street working out. It's a big problem for any dealer that's been in business for 2 or 3 years.
Jerry, you said some of us are hurting. I think that a lot of us are hurting.
Well, as far as what percentage of us are hurting, I guess that was
17 members on the space board and we're all hurting.
Right.
Let me get a comment.
This was the scene when members of the Space Trade Association introduced problems in pricing.
The association cannot force any kind of marketing that's between a willing buyer and a willing seller.
According to counsel, associations venturing into discussions on price and distribution are flirting with antitrust. Does it follow that the SBCA Roundtable, which has brought everyone together, has effectively shielded programmers from any discussion on price? The SBCA had announced a committee was formed to handle public policy and legislative issues, but no policies have as yet been handed down. Perhaps the reason why programmers have not been invited into Hollywood's Motion Picture Association or Cable's MCTA is that such a joining limits an industry's strength, power, and success in negotiating distribution and pricing issues.
Also, though, I'm concerned about power, and I've found the more powerful you are, the tendency to abuse that power.
If SBCA's hands are tied in negotiating and lobbying, it appears their function will be in hosting trade shows and stimulating dish sales through programmer and other member market strategies.
For the larger companies that are in this business, the companies like Showtime and HBO and the larger manufacturers, some of which are up here today, I think they have a responsibility to all you folks to create programs and products that are constantly going to keep their names in front of the consumer on a large national scale. But I think the people out in the audience have a responsibility not only to themselves but to us as well. And their responsibility is really to become effective salespeople.
The satellite industry has seen its share of associations, from space to independent dealer associations, including the National Satellite Alliance, ASTRO, CSDA, TVRO, Satellite Viewing Rights Coalition, the Superfund, the SBCA, and ATV. Everyone is trying to organize groups of people to fight for the future of the dish industry. Which to join, who's fighting who, and who is really representing what you want? This report doesn't venture to answer that question. Perhaps an answer can be found with the Vegas Satellite Conference.
While in Vegas, come to the Satellite Conference at the Dunes Hotel, March 2nd and 3rd, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Admission is free. Everyone is invited. Mention the Satellite Conference when making your reservation and get the lowest rate available. Just $50 a night for a single or double room. Only at the Dunes Hotel. Call the Dunes today. 1-800-634-6971.
Karen, you may not know this, but I took your piece, that piece we just all saw, and I asked some friends of mine to look at it the other night, before Billy edited it up, to see whether they felt it was an adequate representation of what really is going on today, to see whether or not we're biased, because I know I'm biased, but you've always projected yourself as being non-biased, or attempted to. And I must say that everyone that saw that report felt that you had done an admirable job, and it was certainly not biased in the way I feel the situation is, and it wasn't biased in the way people that are, like Taylor Howard might think the situation is. But you've done a credible, admirable job of presenting the facts. Now, knowing these facts, hopefully the consumers out there and the people out there that have seen it would agree that indeed Karen did do a credible job. I think a good question at this point would be people's perception of space or SBCA. So what would be a good question at this point?
Well, I guess, do you feel that the SBCA, the current organization, is set up to represent your needs and to represent you on the Hill, or through marketing, or through whatever endeavor they choose, standards, however? And I guess the other question could be, do you feel that it's time for a new organization, a new association?
Well, maybe we should just do, I guess that would do. Okay.
Well, what did you want to say?
No, I just want to make sure we get a clear-cut answer as to whether the SBCA is going to represent the consumers, manufacturers, distributors, and dealers.
Well, that's who they're purporting to represent. They're saying that they'll represent everybody down the line, including the programmers and the...
Well, the programmers are part of the association.
Right.
And actually, some of the programs belong to more than one committee. Well, we'll get into that later on. All right. So the question again is, this is your 900 question. Do it again.
Do you feel that the current SBCA association can adequately represent your needs as manufacturer, distributor, dealer, and consumer? Or, if not, do you feel it's time for a new association to be set up?
Okay, so they're not going to answer yes or no. I guess they're going to be answering no just by voting for a new association.
No, well, you could feel that it doesn't represent, but the hell with it, we don't want an association anyway.
Yeah, but then they're not going to...
Then they wouldn't answer at all.
But then we wouldn't have any way of knowing
You're
which
right.
way they think. So why don't we answer the question a different way? You can see we're well rehearsed in this. Go ahead, ask the question.
You ask it now.
No, I'm so confused.
Why?
I'm confused. You got me.
Well, we're trying to think it out. I think Billy will do it for you. Well, he's good with the Chiron.
Hey, go for it, Billy.
This is an important, even though we can't articulate it quite accurately, it's an important question.
Sure. It is. Come on, pick up the phone and dial, because this is your industry out there. Even if you're a consumer, this is your space,
We'll be back with some news right after.
There is any time left.
National Satellite Communications has opened yet another door to the satellite industry. NSC, your full-service distributor, with offices in Clifton Park, New York, and Orlando, Florida, now returns to New York at Newburgh. Rely on the NSC computer network to link nationwide warehouse inventory while supplying both service and dealer support on a local level, all to ensure the NSC commitment, providing the highest quality service available. Remember NSC and their newest location in Newburgh. Contact them at 1-800-323-9486.
NSC's product of the month is the Perf 10 antenna, constructed of aircraft-grade aluminum with a 12-step powder-coated finish. This 10-foot antenna is available on a polar or horizon mount with perforated or mesh reflectors. Assembly time is 45 minutes. Call NSC today.
Boresight Satellite Boutique introduces the Portisol Portable Flameless Soldering Iron. The Portisol needs no electricity, no batteries, no wires to get in the way. Using ordinary butane gas, it is completely self-contained and can be used anywhere. Solder wires on your car, boat, or satellite installation without the need of an extension cord. The Portisol is built to last. It is refillable and even comes with a full 1-year manufacturer's warranty, and it's available now for only $24.50 at the Boresight Satellite Boutique and $28 for CODs. For COD orders, call 201-562-0080, and for prepaid orders, send $24.50 to Boresight, 262 Old New Brunswick Road, Piscataway, New Jersey, 08854. Portisol, to go anywhere, anytime, soldering iron.
Good evening, this is the news. United States Customs is still holding chips confiscated from the attendees who returned from the descrambling summit that was held in the Caicos Islands. The chips were originally seized to determine whether or not they violated U.S. copyright law. According to Customs, no determination has been made as of yet. If Customs cannot determine whether or not the chips are legal by February 17th, then Customs is going to have to ask for an extension. In Canada, sources say that chips seized crossing the border into the United States were found not to violate copyright or privacy laws. On Sunday, February 1st, MACOM General Instrument sent through the new keys, which many expected would render the Three Musketeer chips useless. According to those who test and work with a variety of brands, few were affected. Sources say that the Exact and IDS models accepted the keys and kept on descrambling as they were programmed. Some problems were noted by Boresight for customers who had subscribed to services directly. To date, no higher level of encryption has been able to throw off the success of Exact or IDS. MTV Networks is test scrambling its satellite feeds and it's using Boresight. The fixed key test runs Monday through Friday. VH1 is scrambled between 4:30 and 4:45 in the morning. Nickelodeon is out between 5:05 and 5:20 a.m. and MTV is encrypted between 5:45 and 6 a.m. HBO gained 100,000 subscribers between 1984 and 1985. In 1986, the pay movie service signed on 400,000. Today, HBO reaches 15 million homes and Cinemax goes into 4.1 million. Last week, Dish viewers got a break from HBO. HBO announced that if a Dish owner buys 1 year up front, they get 12 months for the price of 9. That is, instead of $12.95 per month, it comes down to $9.71. But this week, cable gave their subscribers an even better break. 4 million TCI homes are being offered HBO and other pay services at $2 a month for 1 year. Showtime is giving the first 2 months to the cable operators at no charge, with discounts following increased subscribership. Pay service programmers paid the direct mail and the cable promotion campaigns to get subscribers hooked up at the $2 per month charge. When cable says they plan to buy into programming, they're not kidding. Last week, MSOs took 35% of Turner's WTBS, and this week, system operators have teamed up with Christian Broadcast Network and Coca-Cola in order to produce original, made-for-cable programming. We have more Boresight news in this segment following these messages.
You know this, but now we have an upgraded version. This is the latest from SOAR, and what it includes, besides the auto ranging, is now we have a manual range, and we also have a beeper function, and we have the much larger LEDs to make it much easier to read. Let's show you how it works on a couple of, resistors. voltage line. Here on this circuit board, let's just pick out a resistor or transistor to show you how fast this thing will settle in. This is a big problem with a lot of the auto ranges. Okay. Get it on. 147 volts. Now in auto range mode. And now we're going to test the battery. But let me show you how the manual mode works. Okay, right now it's in automatic mode and in AC. If we just flip it to DC and just hit this button right here, we get a little range hold here, millivolts. Press it again. And we just start moving the decimal point over. Now we're in the 1 to 10 volts. Take an ordinary 1.5 volt battery. There it is. If you have to make fast measurements, that's what you would use the manual ranging for. It'll settle down quite a bit fast. Okay, let me show you the AC now. We'll do this one in auto mode. Okay, right now it's in auto mode. Press the AC. We get the AC sign here. Plug it into an AC outlet. There it is, 120 volts. Fast as you can plug it in. And one other good feature for everybody out there that's making their little projects and building their little boards is the continuity check on this model. All you do is switch it up to the ohms check, press the ohms button once. You get a little sign here that lets you know you're in the continuity mode. And any shorts in your board, and there you go. It'll tell you right away without even having to check to see what numbers are coming up.
The new Pocket Multimeter is available through the Boresight Satellite Boutique for the same low price of $34. $39 COD. Call the Boresight Satellite Boutique at 201-562-0080.
Welcome back. In some areas, cable may not be a viable solution. Today, 40 million homes remain outside of cable's reach, and Cleveland may be one city that will stay that way, but Cleveland households will still have access to cable programming. Metropolitan Cablevision, which is a soon-to-be 16-channel wireless multi-point distribution system, is offering Cleveland homes 12 services, including Showtime, for $18.95. By bypassing coax, the MDS company uses a mix of 2 gigahertz and instructional television fixed service signals to broadcast to subscribers who are equipped with special antennas, receivers, and a Zenith decoder. However, soon to be competing for these subscriber fees will be North Coast Cable, which has been awarded the Cleveland franchise. Though demographics and income may keep the company from ever getting started, Metropolitan fears that programmers may pull their services from the MDS venture in order to support cable. Metropolitan is concerned about MSO's increasing power to purchase programming. MDS service will be quick to bring antitrust action if availability or pricing of programming appears discriminatory. Despite HBO's enticing marketing plans, Crimson Satellite Associates has not been successful in bringing C-band programmers over to KU. They're not moving over because of concerns expressed by cable operators that these KU services would eventually bypass cable and go direct to home through DBS. HBO tried to squelch operator fears by offering cable systems exclusive contracts to market and sell their movie service in any way the operator saw fit. But the operators were not convinced. Some wondered if the exclusivity arrangement would be considered illegal by Congress and HBO would be forced to abandon it, just as HBO was forced to give up the $5 rebate which was paid to system operators whenever a franchise dish owner subscribed to HBO. Also, keeping programmers out of KU is the extra cost for transponder time. Cable programmers vowed to be the distributors of narrowcast programming, but entertainment, music, and news fill their channel capacity first. Today, narrowcast programming is taking up transponder time on C-band and KU band. Most recently, the automobile industry was introduced to the Automotive Satellite Television Network, ATSN, or ASTN. Pioneered by a Texan car dealer, ASTN is a subscriber service which is aimed at the 22,000 independent car dealerships throughout the United States. 2 months ago, ASTN signed up 680 subscribers at a cost of $385 per month. The daily broadcasts include news, sales, training, and seminars. The break-even point for ASTN is 1,200 subs. Now, while Chaparral Communications prepares for a suit initiated by Bowman Industries regarding patent infringement by the Chaparral Polar Rotor in another court, Chaparral faces Cosmos Antenna Manufacturing. Cosmos filed suit in federal court claiming that Chaparral did not purchase the minimum required antennas to bind them to their exclusive contract. Since Chaparral bought less than 300 antennas in November and none in December, Cosmos said Chaparral did not purchase the 6,000 minimum, and Cosmos decided to ship their product to other outlets. At this time, Chaparral has not filed a counterclaim. Although the Federal Communications Commission passed a ruling that no town or city could discriminate against satellite antennas for pure aesthetic reasons, many cities have not changed their current zoning laws. One dealer in Rochester, New York, forced the city's zoning restrictions, and the dealer won a restraining order which prevents the city from ruling against dish installations until the trial is concluded. The trial date is set for February 17th, and it will be held in the State Supreme Court in Rochester, New York. Pico Products has introduced a new concentric CKU feed. The feed will be displayed at the Las Vegas Trade Show. It will be displayed along with Pico's other lines of satellite reception products. That concludes this week's segment of industry news. We have some advertisers coming up next and the rest of Boresight.
I call your attention to this book titled The Hidden Signals on Satellite TV. It instructs the reader how to intercept long-distance telephone conversations, electronic newspaper, computer data, radio networks.
It's all there, how to intercept all private communications, and you can get your copy of Hidden Signals today from Boresight, $19.95 prepaid and $23.85 COD. Call Boresight at 201-562-0080 to order your copy of Hidden Signals. Bob Cooper has done it again. He's compiled everything you need to know about scrambling into one spot. He calls it the Scramble Facts Newsletter.
20 TV services are now scrambling with Oak Orion, while 15 have signed up with Video Cipher. Another 2 are...
Do you know which 70 TVRO receivers have been tested for compatibility with the Video Cipher? A complete list appears in the new issue of Scramble Facts.
EDP 900, SatStar Elan, SatTech R5000.
Do you know the 8 firms who are providing pirate decoder units or information? Scramble Facts lists them along with their telephone numbers.
Energy Satellite at 213-362-977.
Everything you need to know about scrambling, the legal and the illegal, is in Scramble Facts Newsletter. For your own airmail copy charged to your Visa or MasterCharge card, call area code 305-771-0505 today. Bob Cooper is the source, and that's important. Scramble Facts Newsletter, available by airmail today. Just call area code 305-771-0505 with your Visa or MasterCharge card handy.
Well, now that you know that we have a Tom Stockert, part of the great Boresight team that will help produce the magazine, if you just heard Karen's news and you know that Tom has joined our staff, and we're really pleased to have him, one of the burning questions we have running around this place is, what size to make this guide? Some of us want a TV guide size, and some of us want a regular OnSat orbit size. Which size do you want? After all, we hopefully will be selling it to you. So please vote now and tell us what size you would like to see your guide. And remember, it's your guide because it's going to have the most current information. Matter of fact, our press time is 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks compared to everybody else's. And there's some other really neat features that only this guide will have. So call up and vote now because you don't want to be getting something that you don't want. This is Scrambling Updates. First, if you are having a problem with your clone chip, try reinstalling the original U30 and go up to CNN and stay there for about an hour. You'll probably find your clone chip is working again. If it still isn't working, then call that good old clone chip maker and ask him what's going on. First, try that, however. If you don't have an original U30, which is many of you don't that have clone operations, you're going to have to get one and have it put in. But that will probably take care of your problem. There were no 3M chips turned off as far as we know at this time. They're alleging that they're going to be turned off in March. However, those people that make the 3M chip feel that there's no way in hell they're going to turn these things off. And once they do turn them off, if they are able to do so, they will show one more side of their coding and encryption, and the 3M guys will just be able to turn you back on. Remember, these guys are making enough money with this product to make sure that you're running forever. And they seem to be more than willing to take that responsibility on to make sure that if indeed they're able to turn these things off in any manner, you will get turned back on and it won't cost you anything. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Third thing, the Scramco chip seems to be having a problem in some quarters in that if you install it in the wrong VC2, you will destroy your U7 and render your box brain dead. There's also a diskette, a floppy diskette that is given away when you buy the Black Box Solution book on cloning and 3M work. They give you some floppy diskettes with that. In that, they give you a Scramco chip diagram on how to do it. Unfortunately, that will make your box brain dead, so be aware not to use that. There is some things happening in the legal front. We have met with the attorneys and we have decided on a number of courses of action. Some of them involve dealer associations out there. If you are still in a dealer association and you're still operating, please give us a call here at Boresight. Hopefully, after this is all said and done, your dealer associations will find yourselves very rich because there's some very, very good litigation that can be taken on a local level. It will start with dealer associations and then will probably funnel out into the consumer level, but it will generate a lot of good press for us and will bring our issue to the local level so people understand what the cable industry and programs are doing to the satellite industry. And besides that, it will make you some money possibly. There is a Provo number that we have here at Boresight, and Bob Cooper is running it on Scramble Fax. We have not had ours operating this last week because we had some problems with the phone system, but it is now resolved, and please feel free to call through to the 88 number, and we will pass that information on to you. Basically, that number is going to give you information as to what took place on Provo, or what is taking place as a result of what took place on Provo on the legal front. and on the chip front. So that number is 201-562-0088. And please, those people that were Provo should call. Others really has no bearing on you whatsoever. And last, speaking of Provo, we have a piece now coming up with John McDougall. He's the famous Captain Midnight. Take a look at this. He gives you some insight as to what really happened, what's real and what's fiction. And he's an articulate speaker, and we welcome him. And remember, when you're looking at John, remember he had to pay a $5,000 fine, and that was $5,000 John didn't have. And maybe if you people want to collect some money for him, we would gladly help out. I'm sure we'll put his address up so you can send it directly to him. Thank you very much, and let's look at John. Before we go look at John, there's one more thing I forgot to remind you. Those of you who have been trying a number for IDS up in Canada, a 519 number, that is a wrong number, as many of you already know. The correct number is 519-735-8520. Please don't call the wrong number, whatever that one was. I think it was 725. But the correct number is 735, and we certainly apologize to that poor man that we're driving him crazy right now. And that's their number, and that's all we have to say about this. Let's go look at John again now.
And I think you should all understand one thing, and it's a definition of a word. The word is entrepreneur. And my very first economics course in college, I went to school in Massachusetts, and I've lived in Florida most of my life. I went to Massachusetts, and the professor I had lived in Boston his entire life, so I couldn't understand him very well. But I think it was the second or third day of the course, and he kept asking us what an entrepreneur was. And we went on, and I mean, 30, 40 people had answers, and they weren't anything that he wanted. So he finally gave us the definition that he said was the single definitive definition of entrepreneur. And he said it's called a risk taker. Everybody in this room is an entrepreneur, not because you're taking a risk legally, but you're also taking risks financially, personally. Everybody here is an entrepreneur, and that's really what American business is all about. The other side of the coin is when you are exercising your entrepreneurial spirit in an endeavor that can get you thrown into jail, or shall I say ruined for the rest of your life, if you're not careful. You should be very, very, very careful. There's a couple of things that I believe, and this is just my opinions now, nobody's endorsing me, just my opinions, that you need to keep in mind all the time. Never, never, never let it out of your mind. One is, if you can't, and this is a saying that, what's his name, Beretta made popular, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. The second thing you always need to keep in your mind is what I'm doing, is it right, is it just, is it moral, am I really helping people? Am I really doing something worthwhile, or am I just gouging somebody to make a quick buck and go on to the next endeavor that I have in life? Anyway, there isn't much time left, so let me give you a quick rundown on Captain Midnight. Captain Midnight is standing here in front of you talking. Captain Midnight on April 27th of '86 jammed HBO's signal for 4.5 minutes. Over a period of 2.5 months, the FCC and the Justice Department investigation led them to Ocala. Led them there by many reasons. They had narrowed it down to 20 or 30 different teleports across the country that both had the power capability and, of course, were not transmitting anything at that particular time. Sometime during this 2.5 months, there was a telephone call made from a payphone just north of Ocala on the interstate highway, one of the rest areas. This telephone call was made to Keith LaMonica's FM America show by a man claiming to be Captain Midnight or assisted Captain Midnight in this incident. The phone call was not made by me. It is in the court records that it was not made by me. You can ask the FCC and the United States Department of Justice. The phone call was not made by me. I'm not that stupid. I would never, ever have admitted to anybody that I was Captain Midnight, especially to that asshole Keith LaMonica, to that man, Mr. LaMonica. The phone call happened to be made by a man who drove a red car. I drive a red car. Happened to be in his mid to late 20s, same size and build as I am, and he happened to live in Ocala. Well, those were a lot of coincidences for the FCC to swallow. When they found all this stuff out, and the reason why they found out about this phone call, there was a tourist from Wisconsin that happened to be in the payphone next to him looking for a motel on a phone book, and he overheard this and took down his license plate number and reported it. When they talked to this guy in Ocala, they found out that he had just recently been laid off by the local cable company, and he had worked for radio and TV stations and cable television stations, their cable companies, for the last 10 years or so. So he was fairly familiar with communications and cable and that. They also found that he had numerous computers, satellite dish. He had the capability of generating messages, color bar patterns, computer-generated audio tapes, all of this stuff. So they said, you know, we got this guy. But how in the world did he get into that teleport at 12:32 a.m. when Mr. McDougal had just shut down the transmitter at 12:28 a.m.? That's why they thought I was involved. They thought that he paid me some money, or either that we were good enough friends that I would have let him done this, and came in and did this. The simple truth is, the only time I ever met this guy is he came into the office to buy some RG213 from me for one of his dishes. I only knew his first name, and that's the only contact I had with him. It was an absolute coincidence that he was involved at all. Again, he had no knowledge of who I was, and it was just his own warped, psychotic mind that led him to pretend to be Captain Midnight. Well, the Justice Department and the FCC had their scenario. Of course, they could not prove it, which is when they started to hand out subpoenas. I've never been subpoenaed to anything, let alone a federal grand jury. That's when I called my attorney. Over the next couple of days, we discussed many, many, many different options, which are well too lengthy to go into here, but suffice to say that I didn't have a hell of a lot of choice, since I did not know if the FCC was holding an ace up their sleeve, which of course they didn't, but I didn't know that until after I had taken their plea agreement. A lot of people ask me questions like, why didn't you stonewall them and go to trial? Well, I wouldn't want to go through all that, and I don't know anybody in here that would have, even if I had the money to pay for it, which I didn't. Other people ask me the question, why didn't you jam them for 4.5 hours instead of 4.5 minutes? Answer to that is I really don't know. I mean, I wasn't trying to maliciously take over their signal. I was just trying to send them a message.
When may we expect a movie production of the story?
Very good question. I have a literary agent in Hollywood, California. He is presently working on trying to get some deals with publishers. I don't foresee that ever happening, but he's working on it. My family has commented to me that they would like to see it played as a comedy, and they would like to get John Candy from the FCTV network to play me. So I'm kind of intrigued by that. If anybody knows anybody in the publishing business or in movie production or studio work, have them call me, because I'm very interested in that. I would appreciate any help in that.
To be honest, I thought the Little Shop of Horrors was that.
Give Coop $20 and get $68 back. It's the bargain of TVRO, no joke. For $20, Coop will send you the next 3 issues of CSD, an $18 value, a copy of the 180-page CSD 5th anniversary issue, the complete unabridged history of home satellite dishes, the who, where, and when of the satellite industry. For the serious dealer, it's worth its weight in gold, a $15 value. And a CSD green sheet advertising listing. Advertise your used or new surplus equipment to thousands of TVRO installers worldwide. The TVRO industry's most complete trading post. And it's a $35 value. Add it up, $68 from Coop, all for a $20 bill. An offer no dealer can refuse. 3 issues of CSD, CSD's 5th anniversary issue, and the green sheets. A $68 value for just $20. Call 305-771-0505 between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the weekdays.
New from Canada, a black box with less than half the parts. The Decipher 2 decodes the video portion of any VC2 encrypted signal, and it uses just 3 IC556 timer chips. So you can build it yourself. A detailed instruction book and board are now available, including complete schematics and parts lists with Radio Shack catalog numbers for every part, all for just $35 US. Send check or money order to Valley Microwave Electronics, Bear River, Nova Scotia, Canada, BOS-1BO, or call 902-467-3577 with your Visa card ready. Sorry, no COD orders to U.S.
Well, here we sit, Karen, and there they sit. And the question I have, you have, and they have is, what the hell are we all doing sitting? What is it that's going to take this industry and that person out there to get up and be motivated to participate in programs that are to their best interest? I mean, what is it we have to do in this industry to make people understand that their enjoyment, if they will have satellite, or their livelihood if they're installers or manufacturers or distributors, are predicated on their ability to get up and do things to help the industry? Huh? What do we have to do, Karen?
I think we're doing everything we can here. Bringing information, bringing the news, features, reports, testimonies from lawyers, from people that have been harmed, trying to start out legal funds, to start out associations to get everybody involved. I don't know. What else?
All right, let's take a look at this. We have the following. We have the grassroots efforts to try to involve the cable subscriber with our industry by letting him know that he's not getting fair pricing because we in the satellite industry cannot get programming to sell to our subscribers. And because we can't buy programming and there's only one source for programming, the cable subscriber is buying it from the same source that we have to buy it from, which is the same person, therefore there is no fair pricing in programming. We want to involve the cable subscriber to tell him that's going on so that he gets incensed as we are about it and hopefully starts demanding that his cable company look into this and why can't we have programming. We also have the situation with lawyers as to what do we do with our legal arm of this big attorneys that we've hired. Do we use them only to defend people that have been accused of selling chips or putting in sockets or doing anything that may be deemed illegal by HBO? Or do we use that legal firm to attack aggressively the programmers in the cable industry? And so these are some of the questions we have to answer. And
well, what it all boils down to is whatever we all, meaning you as well, decide that we're going to do, it's got to be together. I mean, we can print up the flyers and we can get an association moving and have the letterhead and make people regional coordinators and get the whole move, hire more people in here. We can go down to Washington and talk to attorneys and give them all the information and try to get a suit initiated. But none of it's going to work unless there's enough of you out there to act on it.
I wonder their motivation is money, or the motivation is something else. What motivates the consumer out there, and the dealer, and the manufacturer and the distributor? Are you only motivated by money, or do you get, or can you get so incensed by wrong, by total wrong? When you get up and react to a situation, maybe that should be our last question. Well, we had a better one when we started this.
No, because you're not going to get somebody who's not motivated to answer that question.
No, that's true.
I think what we've got to find out before we spend the money to hire more people and to go through with these campaigns and to keep fighting every week to find out if you guys really care. If you care enough to put money into the legal fund, and if you care enough to represent this new association, to get your cable subscribers in the community involved, to pass out flyers, to be available for people to call for information, to try to get the 40 million cabled homes out there to start writing their letters into Congress and to write their letters into 2020. I mean, that's, I think, the question. Do you care enough to do these things?
Well, that's an interesting question. We'll see the answer. But before we go, I don't want to leave you with the impression that we here at Boresight are creating a new association that's Boresight's association. We do not want to make that representation. We hopefully are working with others to create an association that represents the entire industry, including the consumers, manufacturers, and distributors. We'd like to see the people from SPCA there. We'd like to see all the manufacturers and distributors, and frankly, you dealers are going to be responsible to getting the manufacturers and distributors there, because if you don't make that effort to get them there, they probably will not be there, because most of them don't own their own dishes, as we all know, and therefore they don't even know they're supposed to be there. So your effort is really important on this, because there's so much that we have in this industry. There's so many opportunities that the satellite industry provides a person, not just with sales and information and viewing pleasure. Our whole communication in this country revolves around.
Welcome to the wonderful world of Home Shopper Network. This Shopper Network is called Green Sheet, and it's from Boresight. And we want you to know that we will gladly sell you those unneeded things that you presently have no idea you need, and you really don't need them after you buy them, but we sell them to you anyway. And we will take your Visa, MasterCard, and we welcome both. We also welcome checks, and we also ship COD, unlike other people. I gotta keep on moving my head so this doesn't burn the camera. By the way, this is one of our most popular sales last week. Can you believe people bought this? Well, they're on their way, folks. This was $10 last week. It should have been $12.95. That's probably why you bought so many, because that's the same thing the guy paid for it. Okay, by the way, this is called the headlights. And if you want to buy them tonight, they are designed to fit over top of glasses and to work so you can work close up and see what you're doing. And gee, they were one of our most popular items last week. Okay.
How much are they this week?
Same price, $10. Look, we go on losing money for these people. We don't care. No, seriously, I mean, I'm not paying for it. But you are, and it's $10. And if you want it, call tonight, because we're here and we want your call. Second item tonight is an AB switch from Anderson Scientific. This switch is designed to work with the 1010 and the 2010 Anderson Scientific receivers. It allows you to come to your receiver with both a horizontal feed and a vertical feed, and it will automatically switch when you press the buttons on the front of your receiver. It eliminates the need to have a AB switch in the back of your set. It is only $17